Today we're reading Acts 27, verses 39 through 44. And when it was day, they knew not the land, but they discovered a certain creek with a shore, into the which they were minded, if it were possible, to thrust in the ship. And when they had taken up the anchors, they committed themselves unto the sea, and loosed the rudder bands, and hoisted up the mainsail to the wind, and made toward shore. And falling unto a place where two seas met, they ran the ship aground. And the forepart stuck fast and remained unmovable, but the hinder part was broken with the violence of the waves. And the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim out and escape. But the centurion, willing to save Paul, kept them from their purpose, and commanded that they which could swim should cast themselves first into the sea and get to land, and the rest, some on boards and some on broken pieces of the ship. And so it came to pass that they escaped all safe to land. In the last passage, everyone was waiting for daylight to help them figure out where they were. And in this passage, they can finally see land. They have no idea where it is, but they decide to run the ship aground and find out. In verse 40, where it says they had taken up the anchors, the word there also gives the implication of cutting them loose. So most likely, they only brought in the ropes. They committed themselves to the sea, means that they were now at the mercy of the sea. They were all in on trying to make it to shore. I imagine after 2 weeks of being tossed about, I'd be ready to get to land too, even if that meant running the ship into the shore. Unfortunately, they can't get as far into the little bay as they had hoped. They hit ground while still partially out in the rougher waters, and the waves are breaking the ship apart. It's now time to jump and swim, or jump and float for those who can't swim. Given the intensity of the waves, I'm sure this is an anxious moment for everyone involved. The soldiers try to convince the centurion to let him kill the prisoners. You see, Roman soldiers had responsibility for the prisoners in their care. Having them die at sea would not be as bad as if they escaped. And again, we see God's providence protecting Paul. The centurion knows if he allows them to kill the prisoners, they would have to kill all of them. In order to keep Paul safe, he orders them not to kill any of them. A risky choice given his position, but maybe he's beginning to realize that this God Paul is telling him about is real and should be trusted above traditionally human wisdom. At the end, just as God said it would be, everyone on board made it safely to land. Have burdens or concerns that are weighing you down? Have situations that seem out of your control? Let this passage be a reminder to put your trust in Him. Like Peter said in 1 Peter 5, verse 7, casting all your care upon Him, for He careth for you.